Hey guys, welcome back to Boots and Bunny Homestead. I'm going to do something new and I want you guys to follow along with me. Have you ever thought about growing your own ginger? Well, I make a lot of my own medicinals at our homestead, so ginger is one of those things that I want to incorporate into my medicinal collection as ginger root and ginger root powder, or it's not technically a root, it's a rhizome. But anywho, none of the logistics in this video. So I have taken some store-bought ginger. Now when you buy ginger from the store, you want to look for what's called eyes, and these are these little knots right here that you want to look for, because those are going to be your future shoots or your plants. Well, back to what I was saying, this is called ginger root, just a term because it's the part of the plant that grows in the dirt, technically. But in all actuality, it is a stem. It's part of the stem that grows horizontally in the dirt. So it's called a rhizome. Well, when you buy them, they're called ginger roots. That's just what we're used to, and that's what it looks like. Well, from those eyes I was showing you, it will grow tall plants. Okay, the plants is what absorbs the sun and the photosynthesis in order to give the stem part that's under the dirt the vitamins and nutrients that it needs to grow and to spread underneath the dirt, because it doesn't technically grow down, it grows out. So from this stem here, rhizome or root, from here it's going to grow plants that grow up, and then those plants are going to make new rhizomes or new parts of the stem that grow out, and it'll have some roots that grow downward just to pull up nutrition and water out of the soil. So to get started, after you've purchased your ginger root from the store, you want to bring it home, and there are several ways that you can do it. Mine, I didn't have time to do it right then, so it's actually set in my pantry for a couple of weeks. Now, on one of the pieces, I actually had it to start sprouting. And this is the sprout that I've got that has started just from being in my pantry. Well, I've done a lot of research, and you can go ahead and put this in the dirt as is, the same way I'm going to show you here in a minute. Or you can go ahead and let these soak in a shallow bowl of water for 24 hours. And that's what I've done here. I actually set it outside just so it could be acclimated to the temperature outside, and I wanted it to go ahead to start adjusting to being outside. Now, so that you understand how the ginger rhizome grows, you have to understand where it comes from. It is actually a tropical plant, so it loves the hot weather. The best time to start ginger is in about April or May, after the last frost has passed and before it gets way too hot. But it does love the heat, and it being the beginning of August now, I am a few months behind, but who cares? We're still going to do this because I'm going to take it inside and let it finish growing inside. Now it takes, depending on the weather, depending on when you started it, it could take about 4 to 6 months for this to be done. And the way I'm going to do it, it could take up to 10 months. So I could actually be harvesting this in the spring, and then from there use a part of that or several parts of that in order to make my crop for next year. So this is a trial run, because if you remember back in one of my garden tours, I actually planted a ginger root that I bought from the store, and it was in one of my new herb beds. It was in the kitchen herb bed. And whenever because I didn't see any shoots coming up or anything, and whenever I went to see what it was doing, if it was sprouting, it actually rotted. So I pulled it out and just chunked it over to the chickens and let them have fun with it. So I want to try this way and see how it's going to work. And I want you guys to come along with me. So like I was saying, I did go ahead and soak these. I have 4 pieces here. I have this one that you've seen. And then I've got a little short stubby one. And then I've got this one that you've seen with the sprout on it. And then I've got a little one here. And these are all bits and pieces that I just bought at the store. There are several different opinions on YouTube as to how big or how small. Some will actually cut those sprouts or the eyes out like potatoes. They will actually cut those out, plant them individually. Some will say the bigger the better piece that you get. So I just got 4 medium-sized pieces. I didn't get any big ones, and I didn't really get any small ones. I've got one that's on the smaller side. But I just want to grow these and see how it's going to go, because I've never done it. And if you've done it, let me know below what you used and how you did it and what the success was for it. Or if it wasn't a success, that's okay too. So let's see. Now I want to show you, I have several eyes that are coming up now. I've got one here, one here, one here, and one here. So I've got 4 on this one. Oh, 5. I got one there. Did I say that one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 4 on this one. And as you see, they're usually right around the side. So that's where you want to look. Alright, so this one has started pretty good. The other one I was holding up a while ago has an eye here that started, an eye here that started, and then it's got 3 on this side, possibly 1 that's viable right here. But I also noticed on this one, yeah, it's this one, there's an eye that started here, and then an eye, possibly 1 right here. And that may be 2 right there. But I also noticed on the end here, let me see if I can get you to see it. See those little roots that are coming off? I wonder what that's going to do. Because nobody explained that on YouTube. And then on this one, I don't know if it's going to make, but it also has those little roots too. And it's got possibly an eye there that will make, and 1 there, and then there's 2 here that will possibly make. Now the whole point of soaking these for 24 hours, which is just in a shallow dish with water, you know, they're just sitting on the bottom covered with water, is to tell the ginger root or the ginger rhizome that you need to sprout. It's time to grow. So what we're doing is super hydrating these roots or these rhizomes before we put them in the dirt. Now it does like to stay moist in the soil or dirt that you put it in, and like I said before, it doesn't grow down, it grows out. So what I'm going to do is, because I have a pot that already has some soil in it or dirt in it that I'm actually ready to put this in, I'm going to start it there. And I may possibly transfer it once they start sprouting a little bit. I may transfer it into a more wide and shallow pot instead of, you know, a taller round pot like you're going to see in just a minute. But we'll see how it goes. These things may rot and die and who knows what. So I'm going to take you down here and I'm going to show you what I'm going to put them in and how to plant them and everything. And then you'll just have to follow along to see if these things survive. So let's head downstairs. Alright guys, we are down here with this pot. And I have this full of some older potting soil that I use to start some of my seeds in. So it's very light and airy, and it holds moisture very well. So that was one reason, kind of like a seed starting container potting mix is what it is. And whenever you plant your ginger root or your ginger rhizome, you only want about 1 inch of soil or dirt on top of it. So you're going to plant it pretty shallow. And so what I'm going to do And it also likes loose dirt. That's why I chose to put it in this seed starting mix. And it's also going to stay pretty moist as well. So all we're going to do is I want to lay these out. And it doesn't matter how you lay them. Some people will actually stand them up, which is fine too, I guess. But they will find the sun. So we're going to plant these real quick. I've got them laid out here in a circle, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to dig down just a little bit and then cover them up with about 1 inch of soil. Okay, so I just lay it sideways and then cover it up. And that's all there is to it. So now we've got to keep this moist, but we don't want to keep it saturated or wet. A lot of people will say to bottom water them. I'm going to lightly mist the top just to keep it wet, and I'll check in the center every couple of days or so to make sure it's not getting too dry, because if it stays too wet, it'll rot. And I'm not sure exactly what happened to my other one, because it was planted with other stuff and it wasn't getting overwatered or anything. So I think it was just the run of my luck. I wasn't prepared. I didn't do it this way. So we're going to check back. Now these may take about 2 weeks. They say 5 to 10 days for any sprouts to start coming up. But wait until at least 3 weeks before you determine that it's not going to sprout, because they all grow at different rates. And stick around and we will see what's going to happen. I'm going to water this real quick, and then we'll wait and see what happens. I'm going to use the water here that I had them soaking in. And this is still pretty moist dirt. All right. So I'm going to, since it's kind of cloudy out here today, I'm going to leave it out here. But if it happens to get too sunny, because this is a very sunny area and it does get really hot midday, if I see that it's getting too hot on it, then I'll just move it up on the deck where we were just a second ago, underneath the little awning, to give it some shade, but enough to where it's going to stay warm. And then once the temperatures outside start getting to be about 50 at night, I'm going to have to start thinking about bringing it in at night and keeping it in the 70s. It likes to stay between 80 and 85, so I'm going to sit it close to one of my vents to where it can get the heat once the temperatures dip down. And then I'm also going to sit it near a window so that it can get some sunlight and get the heat from the sun to keep it warm as well. So we're just going to have to play this by ear and see how it goes. So you guys stick around and do this with me if you want to. Go ahead and go to the store or the farmer's market or something and get you some ginger root. And you can experiment with a small piece and a big piece. See which one does better. So let me know what you have done before, if you've ever done this. And if you're going to do it with me, this will be interesting. So thank you guys for sticking around and hanging out with me today, and we will see you next time. Bye.